We are live. This is the Haram Life Podcast. I am your host, Reef Leader, and joining me as always is my right-hand man, the myth, the motherfucking legend. What's going on, brother?
What's up, players?
And this week we got a special guest. We got Juan Ayala. Juan, how you doing, brother?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for coming on the first day of Ramadan too. You're really blessing us now, right?
You got to tell me what that is, bro, because
Ramadan's just the first day of fasting. You know, right before the pilgrimage to Mecca, they fasted for like 30 days. I don't really even know, to be honest. I just know what was told to me.
The Black Cube, bro.
To go to Mecca, to go around the Black Cube.
For those that don't know, I'm learning right now, bro. I have no idea what Ramadan is.
So, Juan, for those of you that don't know, you got to tell a little about yourself.
So I'm just a regular guy. I'm a dad, podcaster. I work a full-time job, and I have a podcast where I talk mostly a lot about the occult, really, magic, alchemy, whatever is interesting to me for that point in time. Because that's the one thing that people always say to me, like, oh, what should I talk about? I was like, well, just research what you like, talk about what you like, because the passion comes through. And I think that's part of the alchemical process when you're creating something, because when people see that you put your heart into it, they're going to be attracted, right? Like attracts like. So I just research whatever I find interesting, whatever, and I have interesting conversations with different people from all walks of life. And I've been doing that for 3 years now. So it's going pretty good, and it's only awesome. Just now starting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a follower for a while, and I'm a big fan. And you know, the thing with when you start reading about the occult, you can get down some deep rabbit holes. And my problem has been, I start going down a rabbit hole, then I hear something else, then I go down another rabbit hole. Now I know a little bit about a lot, and I can go through the first tier of like occult knowledge, but then I go to the second tier, and I'm just washed after that.
It's useless knowledge, though. Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like useless. Like you can't have a regular conversation with anybody when it comes, and like there's certain, because we go pretty deep on because the way I look at it is, if we're all going to talk about the same thing, at least bring new perspectives to the scene, or at least dig up some new stuff. So on my show, we dig up books from like the 17th century, 18th century, books that were for the most part unaltered, because anything right now that you really look at, can you really trust it? You have AI and all these different things writing articles. Like, how long have articles been written by AI? They admitted it the other day. It's like, that's why when you would look something up, there would be a whole bunch of the same thing. I'm like, yo, these people are plagiarizing from one another. But no, it's the AI picking it up from other sources, compiling it. So his story, how we were mentioning before the podcast, it's all about, right, the victor, the spoils, and whoever won is the one that writes it. So I like to sometimes think about how maybe history, magic, and alchemy and all this stuff in the occult is BS, but what if it's not? Because there's so many. Why does symbolism exist, right? And if you look at even the Renaissance era, with all the symbolism and all the art, all the just sit down and look up alchemical art, and you'll see this era of humanity where they were talking about something. Now only the initiated were the ones that were able to read between the lines. And so I just find that super fascinating and super interesting. And I really just focus on, I've always been a history buff. In high school, my favorite topic was social studies or history. And I was always that kid that would remember things because I had like the not a gift, but I would always associate things with other things. So I wanted to be a cardiologist for a long time. So I was like in the medical stuff. I was in the nursing program in high school, and I was always like the top of my class. But it was because I was using things that I use today, like building a mind palace. You know, you start building these certain things that when you use things today that you don't know back then were kind of occultish, or right, the meaning. Sometimes when you think of a concept, it has a name, but you don't know the name, and you just go, "Oh, it's this thing that I do that." I was like, "Oh, did you know that was from like the 17th century or something?" I can't really think of anything right now, but I always had a knack for remembering dates and times, and I was always that kid in class that when the teacher was like, "Hey, what day did this happen?" I'd be like, October 29th, 1932 or whatever. It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, I was always that kid. I was a nerd, bro. I was a nerd. So then that just extrapolated to where I'm at now with the podcast, and I just really like going down a nice rabbit hole and having fun, bro. It's all about having fun. Once you stop having fun,
no, that's what we say with this
no
podcast. So, like, once we get too serious and start like talking, like we talk politics and news or whatever, but we have our own take. We try to have fun with it because everybody's talking about the same shit pretty much. Yeah. And especially in the podcast. So what can you do differently? So we just try to give our own takes and have fun with it. That's the main thing. Just have fun, smile. Me and Chris don't get to see each other that much because he moved to North Carolina. So this is our chance to sit down and break each other's balls and, hang out like we used to. And I think that's what people appeal to. Like you said, when you have a genuine thing, people appeal to it. They know it's coming from the heart. It's not. You can tell when somebody's got the hey, welcome to the show. What do you got? People know right away what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, this fucking guy.
But you have to, though, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start doing like a Tuesday night jam show or whatever.
Oh shit.
Like, you have to put on a certain persona though.
Of course,
to organize everything, because sometimes people don't like the hey, what's going on? Like, you have to be a host. Like, that's the difference between being a host and then having a podcast. Anybody can have a podcast, but maybe perhaps you're not a host, right? So there's like different things that you learn along the way that it develops over time, dude. I remember when I first started, and I didn't even, dude, I was talking about all kinds of craziness, but I didn't really find my stride until like episode probably 40 something. And I have people hit me up all the time about starting shows, and I go, hey, just start. Don't focus on like, oh, but this guy's a little bit too crazy and he was saying I'm like, have you even put out the first episode? Like, no. I was like, it's gonna be crazy but they listen to other shows like my show or Tinfoil Hat or Joe Rogan, and they want to emulate that. But to find your like, bro, have you ever listened to like the first Joe Rogan episodes?
I was actually an early listener. Yeah, when he used to do it with Redman, those fucking shows were brutal because they were blitzed to the tits on fucking weed, and then they would just go and record it. But he used to talk about crazy shit.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, now a lot of people, another problem in the community, how you said before we start recording, is the idea that people go crazy when they start looking into like conspiracies or the occult, whatever it is. And I think that's true because, for example, Joe Rogan, a lot of people go, well, he's a controlled agent. Possibly, right? Possibly when you have that much reach, bro, that your show is getting more views or listens than like mainstream media, there's gonna have to be some power that's gonna try and suppress you or try at least, right? They've at least tried. And I don't know about him because, like you said, he's always been famous though, right?
Yeah,
he's pretty much.
Yeah, he was on news radio. He was on news radio when he was
his thing.
In his 20s. Yeah, but he was with Phil Hartman on News Radio on Channel 4. That was a big series. And
News 4, you said, with who?
News Radio with Phil Hartman.
Yeah, no, bro. I know him from Fear Factor. I think 90% of the world knows him from Fear Factor and MMA.
Yeah, he was. I only knew because he played a role on that show, News Radio. He played this union electrician, but he was really an engineer.
Whoa.
And that's what my father did for a living. So I love Joe Rogan because he reminded me of my father when he was the role of an engineer on that radio station.
Yeah, I never even heard about this. Yeah,
definitely. Andy Dick was on that show too. Yeah.
I love Andy Dick, bro.
Bro, you want to hear a crazy story about Andy Dick? I was in LA at what was that hotel? Whatever. I was in LA. We were at one of those rooftop parties, and when I'm in the bathroom, me and Gary, and he starts hitting on my friend hard right as he's taking a piss. He's like, "Why don't you come with me in the stall right now?"
Bro, I don't know how Andy Dick never got jammed up like during the Me Too movement and stuff. Guy's like the biggest creep in Hollywood.
That guy he played the gay role, bro. He got away with it.
Is he gay, really?
I think he's like both ways.
I think he is gay. I think
Yeah.
he's definitely gay.
Bisexual, bro.
Bisexual, but that's how you
That's
escape
gay.
the Me Too movement, bro.
That's gay though, bro.
Yeah, that's gay as fuck.
Bro, bisexual is gay as fuck.
Listen, you can only be bisexual if you're a girl. That's probably an unpopular opinion. We'll probably get some shit for it, but only girls can be bisexual.
He's got kids though. No, he's married to he was married to a woman.
I believe. Well, he's known as like a big time like creep in Hollywood, and it's always been like him hitting on women and shit. I just thought he was. I think he's in a closet.
Okay, well, I mean, if you start to get into like the whole Hollywood and that whole QAnon stuff that the elites are doing certain things, I mean, that would make sense, right? Like all these celebrities. But then going back to what I said earlier about like the community, everything is a psyop, everything is fake, everybody's a controlled agent, everybody this, everybody that. Like, no, right? There's certain things just because you can't, and I like to troll, right? So for when I don't remember something correctly, I'm like, oh, that was Mandela effect. Yeah, Mandela effect. Just for me, bro. Just for me. Like my reality. They just warp my reality. So when people go off, bro, and they'll be like, my favorite one is that The Rock and who was the other one? The Rock is like a transsexual, and who was the other one? There was another one. Another like super buff guy, bodybuilder type. Anyways,
you can't get a woman that big, bro. There's no way.
You know what I'm saying though? Like
Samoans do got some big bitches though, bro.
Yeah.
I will say, like,
yeah, but not like that, bro.
So you know what? So you know what's funny? There was a guy I was watching on TikTok for a while. I don't know. I think his account got banned, but he was heavy into the prosthetics. He said that basically, like, you can trace Hollywood back to like a couple dozen people, and everyone is playing different people. Yeah. And then the latest one I just saw was, and then, yeah, he's saying they're doing this with prosthetics and wigs and contacts and all this shit. I just saw one that was talking about Tyler Perry and Will Smith are the same person. And then when you do a side by side, you know what's funny? If you actually look at Tyler Perry, like if you actually ever seen pictures of him on the red carpet, he does look like he's got like double eyes in the corner, almost like as if he's wearing a mask. And like obviously that's what that guy did, right? He's always, that's how he's made his living. He's always played like different in prosthetics. Yeah. But when you actually listen to Tyler Perry talk and Will Smith talk side by side, they did like a comparison. Bro, it's like the same fucking person.
All right, but wouldn't it be Occam's razor if they were maybe perhaps related in some sort of elitist way? That there's an ancient 100%. Bloodline instead of, because right now I'm looking at a picture of Will Smith and Tyler Perry. Now, I was talking about Big Mama's House the other day on a podcast. You guys remember that? Because it kind of relates to Tyler Perry. Yeah. But Big Mama's House wasn't it? Who was it? Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence, right?
Martin Lawrence. Okay, because you're onto something when it comes to like these prosthetics, and we know this. We know that they've been doing this for a while. Who was the other one that unalived himself? The guy from Flubber. What's his name? Why am I asking
Eddie
you
Murphy.
guys? I have a supercomputer on my.
Yeah, we usually have a producer here that does all that, but he's not here today.
Have a Jamie?
We have a Jamie.
It was, what's his name here? Robin Williams.
Oh yeah. He did Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Where he was a woman. And so this idea that, they can disguise themselves as women. Now, was The Rock a woman turned man?
I don't know, bro.
Come on,
6'5" women, bro.
I don't. You know what's so? You want to hear something fucked up? I remember telling Arif this. I met The Rock down in Miami. I met The Rock and I met Alex Rodriguez in the same day. And I remember Alex Rodriguez being so much bigger than The Rock. But when you look,
a baseball player?
Yeah, bro. A-Rod was bigger than.
How long ago was this?
2009, maybe.
Oh, he was all sauced up too.
It was during he was filming Pain and Gain.
He's 6'3", and
and A-Rod's only 6'2", right?
A-Rod.
Yeah, A-Rod, and The Rock's 6'5".
6'5", yeah.
But
A-Rod was a big boy too, man.
But I'm telling you right now, A-Rod was bigger, and I don't mean like he was exponentially bigger. Like
he's probably all on that growth, bro. That's what I need to go on right now.
But it's weird.
How about Baron Trump? Can we talk about how?
That guy looks like a fucking giant. He looks like one of those giants from Attack on Titan.
Anyone read that book yet? Yeah, anyone read that book yet?
Yeah, I
The
did.
time traveler.
I looked into that book and because right now, right, because we're talking about psyops and all these different things that the truther community always will scream as soon as they see something. Now, my whole thing is right now the whole Donald Trump being arrested. Everybody's on that. They're powering that egregore. They're all on top of that. And then, oh, he's 76 and Barron Trump is 1776. We figured it. Like
Eventually you're gonna get there, bro.
they figured it out, bro. Like and my favorite is the Gematria crowd where they'll twist things around.
We're gonna go with that. There's a target out there for me, and I used to love him, and I just find him so fake now. And this is kind of what you were just talking about, where these guys become famous. Do they just run out of material and they're like, fuck it, we gotta start listening to what people want to hear now, and they start going down that path? But you're listening to Larry Johnson, the former NFL player?
No, I've never. He has a podcast?
Yeah, he has I think it's
he's got an Instagram. You got to go to his Instagram. Let me just tell you, this guy was the most balls deep Gematria fan on everything. Like Arif and I used to bust balls because we used to make jokes. I used to troll on his account and be like, talk about his NFL, like his college football stats. They were everything always related to 6, and I'd be like, Larry, you're the devil. Everything that you have with your Gematria shit is all 666. Like you basically are one of them. And then all of a sudden he switched overnight. He went to the Chaldean calendar.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. Out of nowhere.
He started using Chaldean numerology.
Yeah.
First he was like regular Gematria, and then he was using whatever that one you go on the website with, and everything you can get a square root divided by 6 and then get 3 somewhere, Yeah,
it was literally overnight. The guy, because people started calling him out in his comments, and dude, he's got a big following,
a huge following,
right?
Really?
He's definitely over.
He was an NFL MVP, right? 1 year?
No. But he was in. He should have been.
Yeah, he was.
That's when he quit football.
Remember, he used to throw the rock up. He used to throw the rock sign up all the time, and then he talks about it, how he was influenced by them and everything. And that's the same thing like you saying, powering up the egregore. You're throwing the rock up. You're doing
so everybody focuses their attention on this one thing. Meanwhile, right, the world's a stage. They're doing something else in the background, bro. Everybody knows that a good magician will trick you with one hand as he's doing something else in the back. He's taking off your watch with the other hand. So my whole thing is when the truther community hyper focuses and dude, they have it all figured out, man. Just close shop, because these people got, they know who it, like the Illuminati. Don't you think, bro, that the Illuminati would have changed their name by now?
Exactly.
Like what I'm saying? Like
I have this conversation with him with Arif all the time. Like they give us we're all just a bunch of jerk offs. None of us are ever going to break any codes. We're never going to change anything. They do it in our faces. They love this. They love that we're talking about it. They're going to keep doing whatever they want to do.
Of course.
It's all about, it's sympathetic magic, so they're mining your energy from afar by you contributing to that. And I do believe that the collective conscious does play a role into a lot of this, and it powers these egregores. And the whole thing with numerology, don't get me wrong, I do believe that this maybe we're in an organic simulation of some sort, not how they do in the Matrix, but like there's something at the core of this thing that we're experiencing right now, reality itself. And I do think that there is a higher consciousness, a higher power, God, that is at the center of it all, that's running it, right? So I think that numbers are at the core of all this. And by what the elites do is, like Larry Johnson, you have Magic Johnson, you have all these different names that they assign, again, Gematria, however you want to say it, because I've been called out for saying it wrong too, whatever. But the idea that they take these names and these numbers and they use them as talismans. Part of talismanic magic is using numbers in order to make and invoke certain things into that talisman. So these guys turn themselves into actual talismans by doing whatever it is that they do with their names and numbers. And again, all the symbology and symbolism that they use. Like this guy, I've never really I've heard the name Larry Johnson, but I mean, it sounds like a really generic name, right? Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
Sounds like any. He
was a Penn State guy.
Yeah,
he sees all this shit. He didn't see Sandusky raping those kids in the locker room. Couldn't call that out.
Yeah, that's right. None of the players came forward when that thing happened.
None of them, bro. And he was there. That was like Joe Paterno's heyday.
Yeah.
Wait, something happened where a team member got.
Penn State, there was for maybe like what 20 years almost. There was one of the guys, Sandusky, was running this boys camp where he was raping the boys out of the Penn State football program.
He was doing it to players too. That's eventually who brought him down. He was walking into showers, bro. Walking in the showers, handing out hand jobs.
Yeah, but think about it. A lot of people don't, because they want to be part of the NFL. They want a career afterwards. They just shut the fuck up.
Because it's a secret. It's another form of a secret society. You're not gonna snitch your bros out.
No,
right? You're gonna play with them, because then you're gonna be blackballed. And whatever happened to this guy? Was he any good?
Yeah,
I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah, he was really good on the cheat. And then he was supposed to win an MVP award. He didn't win the MVP award, and then all of a sudden he like retired abruptly in his prime. Didn't get a contract he was supposed to get. It was almost like they blackballed him.
Yeah, you were talking about secret societies. It's the same thing. Like, I'm in a union. That was a secret society at one point. It dated back to like 1890 something. Our union, and that was a bunch of workers that were essentially a secret society that stuck together and only became engineers. You know what I mean? And they only hung out with each other. They drank with each other. That was it.
You're part of the Teamsters, bro? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm an engineer. Teamsters too.
Where's Jimmy Hoffa?
You can say any union, because they all get together. They all congregate. They all say the same chants. They read the same, the same creed. The union books union books have creeds on them.
Work unions.
Yeah, we have laws. We have bylaws.
No, dude. For real?
Yeah. Union bylaws. Yeah. Everybody has a book.
But it's honestly like it in a lot of.
You get initiated to the union.
Look at the police department. Look at firemen, bro. Even firemen to get weird shit going on in their, the firehouse.
Look at the symbolism in these unions.
Yeah, it's heavy symbolism. And remember what you were saying in one of your episodes, how you think a building, like it's almost like it's its own entity. So those symbols and the symbology in buildings and all these unions itself also lend a hand in that as well.
Architecture, yeah. Architecture is really overlooked, because a lot of people focus on it's Tartaria. It was of a lost civilization. Atlantis, like, bro, no, like, think outside the box. Like, what were these buildings used for? Well, they were, cymatics, which is part of it. The cathedrals is a very important thing, but a lot of people, they get lost in the sauce. And again, when something is being pushed, I think the psyops are the things that are being pushed in the spotlight right now. How you're saying, like, people will kind of sort of sell out, because they'll start talking about what's being pushed. For example, right now, the big thing is maybe not so much Tartaria right now, but dude, if you start a podcast and you talk about the Nephilim or demonic or satanic or whatever, and the elites and the Freemasons are at the core of it all, it's going to blow up, because like there's something about the surface level stuff that people can just like click on, and hey, it equals 6, and a 6 over here and a 6 over there. It's 6. It's like that superficial stuff, and the Illuminati's controlling everything. Like, people eat that up, bro. Like, I'll go on other shows that have like followings like that, and I'll say the dumbest thing that to me is like, whatever, like up here, right? I'm on like the bottom of the iceberg, the deep dark stuff. I'm like in books old as hell, 9th century, and I'll say something up here, and people will lose their mind, bro. Like, oh, because you've presented something to them that they've never even considered or heard before. So to them, that's mind-blowing, which is fine. But, I mean, for one, I talk about, like, that's why I mentioned earlier at the beginning, I talk about what I like, not about what's going to get me a following. Because, again, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. Everybody's got their own formula to conducting their shows or whatever. And I've learned, bro, running a podcast, it's like having kids. You don't tell somebody how to raise their kids, and you don't tell somebody how they should run their podcast. So.
Yeah, we were mentioning that before. Like, most of the critique I get is, you should do. You should do. I'm like, oh, tell me, because you're not doing it. So maybe you're good at this. So tell me what I should do.
What should you do? What should you do, bro?
For your podcast, like, they tell you should have this person. You should do this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I really think it's a good idea if you do this. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. And I just say, yeah, well, as long as you listen, don't worry about it. Keep listening.
I mean, you're doing something right. You got the right. You got the right mic for the occasion. You got
absolutely.
I don't see you. Don't got the inline amp. I don't see it there. Do you got the inline amp?
I got the inline amp. It's right in here.
Right,
yeah, we're trying little by little.
I see. I see.
We started with a bootleg operation. Now we're growing.
Yeah, no, you gotta, as you go, and that's what I tell people. It's all, again, how I told you at the beginning before we start recording. It's not like I'm reading all this material in one day, right? It happens over time. Like alchemists were living their entire lives and practicing alchemy in order to achieve the magnum opus. Some never got there. Some died trying, like quite literally died trying. So I think it's, as long as you have fun and it shines through in the work, I think people will be attracted to that. And that's the way I see it. I put something out and the people, if it's good, bro, if not, guess what? Get good.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not hitting the right notes. And again, some people don't, you can only help somebody if they're willing to help themselves. And also another important thing is I believe in, it's not my job to wake people up either.
Yeah.
Right? It's not my job to sit here and preach about certain things and push ideologies on people, because that's where I came from. That was like my origin story. I came from, again, Pentecostal uprising. I was raised Pentecostal, hardcore, bro. I was going to
Oh,
church.
is that the one with the snakes and everything?
No, so again, I was talking about this today. There's 43,000 different denominations of Christianity. So there are some here in Florida. There's been a couple where the pastor got bit by a snake, and hey, God's gonna heal him. Guess what? Yeah, he died because the snake is poisonous, bro. Right? Like God made the antidote for you to take, and you didn't want to take the antidote. So, but my Pentecostal church would speak in tongues. They would, do the whole fainting. They would do the running around.
They emphasize the Holy Spirit, right?
That's very big. And don't get me wrong, but when you're in that, because I played guitar for a lot of years in my church, and I went around to I went to other churches and played concerts, and I played with like professional musicians, like at different churches. When you're in that flow state of like worship, there's something in the air. Like there's something going around where you can feel the presence of, if it is God or whatever it is. But again, I can't deny the fact that there's nothing there, because there is. But is that us making that happen as a collective, as a congregation, coming together and worshiping, right? Maybe the lighter side of things, right? A good energy. So you would feel, and I saw miracles and things happen, right? Things happen in front of me because I was there. And so I finally broke away from that when I started to notice like the hypocrisy and the politics and everything. And then once I moved out of my grandma's house, really is when I started to go hard in the pain with like research, because I was able to actually talk to other people about certain things. And then when I discovered podcasts, I was like, there's podcasts about this sort of thing. And I was like, probably like 21 or 20 years old. I was like, there's podcasts about it. So once you start going down those rabbit holes, and then when you start to confront your family about it, like, so what's up with the Book of Enoch? And they're like, no, don't read that. Like,
yeah.
But why not? Because it's not supposed to be read, but why is it referenced in the canon? And by the way, who decided what's canonical and what's non-canonical?
Yeah, Enoch was like all 300 books were left out when they just took these specific books,
bro. And once you start really opening up your eyes to that, again, I respect everybody's religion. I think religion serves its purpose, but I think it's just another way of division. And I think that we're all looking at the same thing, just with different names, and according to whatever cultural influence or whatever familial or geographical influence, because geography also affects your mind. Wherever you are in the world affects the way you perceive things, and it's all about perceiving things. So your God might be the same God as me, but then you kind of sort of see him in a different way. So you call him something else, and then there's wars being fought over what type of bread to use for the Eucharist. Schisms for the type of bread. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, it's crazy. So when I started with the Gnostics, like early underground Christianity. And like I told you, once you learn like one cosmology, so the Christian cosmology, as I was taught, the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, et cetera, you go through that. And then you start to notice like, oh, the Gnostic cosmology is this kind of sort of the same thing, except it's different. The creator of this universe was Satan.
Yeah,
it was Yaldabaoth, right? Like some demon. You go, it's like once you start to read it, and I said it out loud. It was a demon that created the world. So then it's like kind of sort of the same thing, but then God's replaced with another guy, And bro, you take that and you extrapolate it to all different religions, and they all, right, the Anunnaki. So they're the same thing. These 7 gods that created the universe, and there was one guy, Enki and Enlil, and his brother, and they were fighting. It's like Cain and Abel. So then you start to see the reflections, but we got to understand that history has an origin. And then you start to see the similarities between all these ancient civilizations and ancient religions. It's like, wait a minute, Atrahasis and Noah, that's kind of the same thing. Enoch and Idris, that's kind of the same thing. And Elijah, like all
Gilgamesh,
these guys.
yeah.
We got to find the book of origin, and it's probably in the Vatican, and we're never going to see it.
No,
It's in the basement.
bro.
It's in some kind of weird sphere, like in one of those movies, a sphere of knowledge or something like that.
It's called a crucifix, I think it's what it's called in Harry Potter, the crucifix.
You remember the old Zeitgeist films?
Bro, actually,
those?
I'm going to do an episode on the Zeitgeist here coming up in a couple of weeks.
I remember one of them kicked off with that. They talked about how there's like 89 religions that have a virgin mother who gave birth to the son of God. And you could just follow it all the way across all these different religions.
Bro, I got an episode dropping on Friday about Manly P. Hall's The Occult Anatomy of Man, and it breaks down the Bible and like the views of different gods, and that they were just talking about your anatomy, like your occult anatomy, and they were just, again, they were alchemists, they were shrouding things in symbolism. So, and that was one of the first books I ever read of Manly P. Hall, and it really blew my mind. And it's about that. It's about how like Jesus wasn't one of the only saviors that was crucified. There was like a whole bunch of others that were crucified, right? And when you look at astrology, right, the 12 disciples, and he becomes the sun, he's in the center, right? He becomes the sun, and the 12 apostles become the 12 zodiac signs. Now, I don't know a lot about astrology, but I know it's at the core of a lot of magical practices, and 100% the alignment of the planets has an effect on something right now. Yeah. But then you got the flat Earth crowd. I don't know if you guys are flat Earthers or not.
No,
but the planets are holographic.
I'm open to
projections.
anything. You know, I'm open to anything. I don't know
So
what it is.
You're
up
bisexual,
there.
bro.
Yeah, I'm biplanetal.
So that whole crowd, like the planets are a holographic projection system, and right, the Earth is flat, which is fine. If it is, hey, more power to you, whatever. It doesn't affect my existence. That's like the whole thing. Like they swear by it. And again, it's just these, when it comes to the truther, I think the truther community, some people marry certain ideas and they identify with that. Like for me, it's like the homunculus. Like I relate everything back to the homunculus or alchemy or whatever.
Oh, you gotta tell Chris what a homunculus is.
We all have our thing. You know, what's that one guy that they've been seeing a lot of these fights? What's his name? The little
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, that guy.
Yeah, Hezbollah.
So he's 20 years old. He's a Russian internet person. So he's a little.
Oh no, I know him, but I just looked him up. He's only got a $200,000 net worth. I thought he was like loaded with all this crazy money, and I just watched a podcast where Mike Tyson picked him up. I don't think Mike Tyson realized he's 20 years old, bro. He did it like
him on the neck,
like I pick up my daughter. He was like weird, like loving him up. It was hilarious.
Really? Yeah. Oh, Mike Tyson was the other one that he was also a transsexual. That's the other one that.
Oh, really?
Bro, I love watching Mike Tyson's like early Mike Tyson when he was first starting, bro.
When he was doing interviews, bro.
No. Like I'm talking about like when he was.
Oh, it's fighting, yeah.
18, 19 years old.
I can tell you right now, Mike Tyson was not a transsexual. I met him at a very young age. I lived in Saugerties, New York.
That's where he trained.
He was fighting out of Catskill. And he was, dude, at 16 years old, that
freak of nature.
He was enormous. The biggest legs I've ever seen in my life.
Bro, I love just watching the sheer power of like a Mike Tyson in his prime, dude. But he's not all there, right? Like we can agree he's not all there.
No, he's definitely not.
So part of the homunculus lore is also not being all there. So a homunculus is an artificially created little man, but he comes from I focus on alchemy. So in alchemy, when it's like a blood and bones talisman, and a talisman is used for the augmentation of whatever magical abilities you have as a sorcerer or a wizard or whatever you want to call yourself. So the homunculus is then sacrificed after the fact in order to complete whatever you want to do. And there again, I read a lot of old grimoires or translations of these grimoires because a lot of them are in Latin. And it's the wildest thing ever because you start to go, what were these guys? Were these guys being literal or were they being
Actually doing this shit?
symbolic? Well, here's the thing, bro. You got to understand that when it comes to this sort of thing, there's a reason why on the street there's a sign that says don't do this certain thing. And you go, oh, that'd be stupid to do. Well, somebody's done it. So that's why they have that sign there. So you have the guys that go, oh, well, that's symbolic. Yes, there is a symbolic connotation to it, but there's also the people, the Florida man, if you will, who's going to do this thing for real to see what happens because he's curious. He's not part of the initiated peoples that are in that clique or whatever it was. So he doesn't know how to read between the lines. He's going to go, okay, well, I'll take this thing and I do this, and I'm going to make this little person. Well, the father of modern day toxicology and modern surgery, Paracelsus, was at the core of this. And he was 5'2", right? This little man, this little person. And bro, I actually pulled up some information of him today. Dude was lit all the time. He was taking some sort of opium. I think it was like 24/7, bro. Like, and what they have supposedly his skeleton, they have his bones, and they did like testing on it. I think he died from like mercury poisoning or something. Because you gotta remember, these guys were alchemists. They were trying to do the literal transmutation of lead into gold. And what I love about alchemy is that it's I call it a multi-dimensional topic. It's a literal topic where there is the actual practice of spagyrics, which is mixing certain things, herbal medicines. There's spiritual alchemy of transforming yourself, right? Your lead self into the best golden self that you have. And it's a philosophy, right? There's the Taoists, that goes back to like 2600 BCE, right? Like way back. But these guys were also drinking mercury to try and live forever. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. And I believe that there's a lot to learn from all these different schools of thought. You just got to shift through a lot of bullshit, bro, to get to it. You know what I mean?
It's funny you said all that. Connor actually, McGregor, after he kind of hit that pinnacle, that elite, he gave an interview, and I just remember it. I can't find it. I was trying to look it up, but he flat out tells the person he's speaking with, he's like, to be successful, you can't be all there. And it kind of coincides with exactly what you just said.
Well, like I meant not all there. I meant not all there as he has mental health problems.
No, that's exactly what Connor said.
Yeah, Conor McGregor was saying that.
You got to have mental health
problems to be
successful. You basically can't mentally be all there.
Yeah.
I think I sent it to you, Reef.
Yeah. That's an interesting take on life.
It's a weird thing to say. Yeah, it's a weird thing to say.
Admitting that he's probably controlled a little bit too. A little bit.
Well, that's like MK Ultra, bro.
Yeah.
It was just a weird, I just remember it kind of stuck out. It was a weird quote to make, and then he kind of elaborated on it because even the person interviewing was kind of like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Because if you look at like a Kanye West, right, that dude's not all there.
No.
And I mean, but then here's the thing, bro. Whenever he does something crazy and then something ends up playing to, like, for example, when he got dropped from Adidas and then Adidas had to bring him back for whatever reason, like, oh, he's a genius.
He had like $90 billion in inventory.
he's a genius, right? He's one of the greatest. He played them. Did he really, or did it kind of just sort of work out and it's perceived that he was a genius? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, his music is next level, and Kanye West was one of the first artists I ever really started listening to, and I didn't like him at first because I guess when it comes to a lot of things, you have to resonate on a certain frequency with whatever, right? People will rub you the wrong way, right? Like when you start to, like, for example, Tinfoil Hat, when I first started listening, I hated that show. But then, like, as I got deeper into whatever, like, it kind of sort of clicked. And then I started to like the show for whatever reason. And, like, dude, sometimes I'll be researching a topic for a week for a presentation or for something. And it makes zero sense to me. Like, I have to keep reading about it and doing more research. And I'll drop it. And I'll come back to it. or even on the actual show, I'll go in not really understanding it 100%. And there's one thing that the person will say or that I'm with, or one thing that I'll read or remember, boom, and it all clicks and makes sense to me. So the reason I say that is because, again, I think that there's something in the collective I think that I might, and again, not to disrespect anybody on the actual spectrum, but in order to talk about these certain things, you probably have to be on the spectrum a little bit. Like, right?
What you just described, that's exactly how Adderall works in a mind.
I tried it one time.
I'm not kidding you. Like that, I'm being dead serious. That is exactly how Adderall works. It triggers something, and then it fires up everything else around it.
Yeah, folks, that's how you get hyper focused on one thing then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried Adderall one time in high school. I think high school or college. I don't remember. But I tried it one time, and it was like, yeah, you were wired. I think I started changing the light bulbs or something in my house after I was done with the essay I was trying to write. And so, yeah, there's something about these drugs. And yeah, but that's really weird with the Conor McGregor thing, because I meant it in like a mentally handicapped type of way, which I think Mike Tyson is, like mentally handicapped to a certain extent.
Even Tyson had a lot of trauma as a kid.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma.
Definitely on the spectrum too, I would think too.
So he just disassociated, you mean, like kind of sort of like stays a kid for longer?
He was like that because when he was in
kind of like Michael Jackson.
He was coached by Customato, who was a famous he was pretty much a hypnotist, Customato. And he had Jack Johnson. He had a bunch of big fighters too that were world heavyweight. He even says it. He's like, I made him read books on Alexander the Great, on Julius Caesar, and make him think about war and war strategy constantly. And that's all he read for like 5 years when he was on the Customato. So that's all he knew.
You can never get that situation again, because there's people that borderline would look at that now and say the Customato, it was a form of child abuse.
He's grooming him to be a fighter, actually grooming him, 24/7 fighter. That's all he was. But that's why when he lost him, that's where all that rage came from.
Well, that's the other thing, because Mike knows that Cuss was turning him into a war machine, but at the same time, he still felt the love from Cuss, which is a really fucked up thing if you think about it.
Absolutely. But yeah, Mike Tyson is what, if somebody would say homunculus, that's what I think he looks like. A Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Because that's what they look like in the Full Metal Alchemist a little bit, like the Mike Tyson is a homunculus. Like that's what I would think he is.
Yeah. So, well, he'd be a golem, right? The golem is the other. That's the Jewish.
That's the Jewish homunculus.
It's like more of like an automaton.
Did you mention they made homunculus by sticking it inside a cow's vagina and let it fester in there for a while?
So, well, yeah, there's
actually do this, right?
There's different recipes, and that's one of them. That's one of like the more infamous ones. It does include bestiality as part of it, because again, you got to understand that back then they believed in there was Aristotelian biology and from Aristotle, and it was mostly based on observation. So when they would see something happen, it really started with they would leave a piece of meat out and they would see that it would putrefy and rot. But then from that rotting, oh wait, there's maggots. So from this putrefaction comes life. Like what? How does that make sense? So they took that from observing. They don't know that was another life form that was feeding off not that it was producing that. They were just feeding off of there, right? The flies and all that stuff. So they would mostly based it on observation. There was spontaneous generation and sexual generation. Spontaneous, you get A plus B equals C, right? Pretty quick, right? Chemistry, we all know, mixing things together. And then sexual, which was they gave the sperm like supernatural powers, pretty much. It was the woman was only seen as an incubator. Now, again, that's really controversial with some people, but the women were just incubators.
That's how most of civilization was like that.
A lot of, and some places are still like that, right? Some places still see the woman as you need to be in the kitchen and that's the only thing that you're able to do. But back then it was way worse.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but again, that was the way that they looked at it. And so there was different recipes for it, and that was being one of them based on Aristotelian principles, which again, they looked at it like they were like, hey, wait a minute, if it makes a man, right, if we can make life with this sperm, well, then let me start mixing it up different places to see if I can bring forth a different type of life, right? And then again, it could be 100%
bullshit.
symbolic, right? It could be symbolic. It could be some, but my problem with it being symbolic is that particular text, the Liber Vitae, which is from the 9th century, is not an alchemical text. It's supposed to be a medical text. And the crazy part about that is that there was a lot of different copies all throughout Europe. And even John Dee at one point had a copy of it, right? Because it would make sense. He had the biggest library in Europe at the time when he was coming up. But the idea that probably one of the greatest occultists of all time had a copy of this. Plus, there was a lot of monks too that had this book. And it wasn't a lot of medical journals because they would legitimize it by, for example, you had a medical journal about curing whatever, they would slip a couple pages in the back, right? Because and the way that works is if you know where to look, hey, pick up such and such book at such and such library, and look up page number 666, and you're gonna find something in there. Like that's how that works. So they would legitimize it by putting it in other works and occulting it in those works. Now there's all types of different recipes, bro. I mean, there's that one of penetrating the cow, and then there's other ones of like it involves a monkey. There is again the alchemical flask, but again it's just. I learned yesterday, actually, I was doing an episode on alchemy which I didn't know, there are different paths of alchemy. So, for example, an example, Paracelsian alchemy, the people would follow the Paracelsian way. Other people would follow Nicholas Flamel, the Flammarian alchemy path of his way of doing something, or Magnus, right? His way of doing alchemy. Or whatever you name the Fulcanellian way, whatever. Like there was different paths. So even within alchemy, they're divided. How I mentioned earlier about religion, we're all worshiping the same one God, but then they all have different names. Well, alchemists were also doing the same thing by breaking away and following an alchemist before him, in whichever way that they were doing it, right? So I found that really interesting. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's why they always refer to it as Paracelsian or Aristotelian or whatever it was. But the problem with the Aristotelian biology was that it lasted up until like the 18th century, which is really, really,
it's really recent. Yeah. Jesus Christ. You had a good way,
bro. You couldn't do right. Like that's the whole thing with Frankenstein. You couldn't dissect a person to figure them out because if they caught you, are you a witch?
Going to hell.
What are you doing? Yeah. Are you a necromancer?
Yeah. You're trying to steal the soul or something. You got to be buried whole. You can't be touched.
Yeah. Well, and again, back to cultural or religious views, like you can't touch the body or whatever it is. Like, bro, honestly, if I ever go, like I always tell my wife, just cremate me, man. Like,
I want a Viking funeral, bro.
We're buying boxes for people that they're gonna be. Who was it? Who was it? The one that
you still got to buy the box though, bro. Still got to rent that shit.
The one that you go in the urn or whatever it is.
Yeah, they get you either way, bro. They still want that. They want that cancer.
I want to be put on a raft and then shot a flaming arrow shooting the raft. That's what I want. A Viking funeral. That's how I want to go.
There's I think the Tibetans where they get eaten by the vultures. They just put your body out on the top of a mountain. And the vultures come and pick your bones clean, bro.
Yeah, I think that'd be tough for the family to watch. So to cheer on, though.
Yeah. But again, different cultural references to them. That's like an honor. Like, damn, these vultures are eating my ass right now. Like, like that's the craziest thing. But who was it? The one that had a bit on it? I think I could have swore it was either. What's the dude that just went in on Will Smith because we were talking about Will Smith?
Chris Rock.
Didn't he have some bit about his grandma dying or like if they wanted to be waterproof or not? Who was I listening to?
I'm not sure.
I gotta be honest with you. I watched I was fast forwarding a lot trying to find what he said about Will Smith. I thought it was terrible. I think it was good, bro. Everyone went crazy over it. I thought it was dog shit.
I don't know.
No, yeah, it was pretty bad. It wasn't that.
It was not good.
No, it wasn't good at all. He didn't even.
And the only reason people watched it was to hear about the Will Smith.
Yeah,
exactly.
He played it the way you're supposed to. If I was going to do that, I was going to do the same shit.
Of course,
I'd
to the end.
Listen to me talk about dog shit topics for 30 minutes, and then I'll hit you in the final 5 minutes.
But do you think that was all set up? Do you think that was done on purpose the way that they did it, or what?
No way, dude.
I think Will Smith had a little
still to this
MK
day-
Ultra fucking deprogramming in that second. Just looks so strange, the response.
He
You seen that
glitched?
response? Like, keep your wife's name out of my wife's name out. The way he glitched, like that was like
I think that it
don't
was
know,
a
man.
perfect opportunity for Will Smith to show like he was a tough guy after she's literally made him look like a bitch for the last like 10 years.
That's a humiliation ritual. A lot of people say, bro.
That's what I think.
Yeah, but
I
the only
definitely think
problem
that.
is like Will Smith has already been like at the top of his game. Like there's no comeback for him. You know what I mean? I know that like a lot.
Well,
of
he's
times
doing
those-
Bad Boys 17 or whatever the fuck.
But that's what I'm saying.
There's
Like
another one?
he's
Yeah.
gonna, another one. But
Really?
he's
Yeah.
gonna do it regardless. Like he's done. Like Will Smith's never gonna. He's just never gonna get that moment again.
He's not gonna be like Denzel, where everybody looks at him like he's the man.
And not for nothing, but he was in the limelight at that time.
Like, he was winning an Oscar.
Yeah, that movie.
Bad Boys
with,
4. Wow.
Yeah.
Serena Williams' father, which sucked, by the way. I don't know why it was so acclaimed. Another movie that sucked.
I like Bad Boys 2 though.
Yeah,
It's
Bad
the
Boys
best
2 is the
sequel in the
best.
history of
Yeah.
sequels.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, that's
Great movie.
that number 2 is better than number 1 by leaps and bounds.
So I want to go back because I pulled up Constantine, Cuz D Amato,
Yeah.
right? Or
Constantine.
Cosdemar.
That's an interesting name too.
Constantine, because you
Yeah,
mentioned that
yeah.
he was making him read about Alexander.
Constantine was the
Great.
Slayer, bro.
Yeah. Well,
Constantine was
also-
the guy that decided the canon of the Bible, bro.
Yeah, yeah. He was the
You know
guy
what I'm
who pretty much rewrote Christianity.
I watched a different movie.
So check this out. It says here, at a young age, D'Amato became very involved and interested in Catholicism and even considered becoming a priest during his youth. But one thing is, who else? So we have Floyd Patterson,
Yeah.
which I never heard about him. We have
But-
Jose Torres. and
Floyd
we
Patterson
have-
was one of the greatest fighters of
Yeah,
all time.
he's had
Really?
the
Yeah.
guy's resume is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest fighters of all
Bro,
time.
I love watching like old boxing. Like I think
That's
that
what
was,
I
like-
do. That's what I really love watching old boxing because you watch, they're not as you know, as far as physique wise, they're not jacked or anything. It's all technique in the old school boxing.
Different
Never heard of
equipment.
Floyd. Maybe I did hear Floyd Patterson. I never.
Oh yeah, bro, he's one of the greatest. He was
Yeah.
a violent fighter.
Yeah, he was like undisputed champ for a long time. I think the Rocky Marciano beat him or something.
64 fight, 8 losses, 40 wins by knockout. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
he was a beast.
I'm gonna have to check him out. And then who was the other one? We have Jose
Floyd
Torres.
Patterson actually died of Alzheimer's. He didn't get as much publicity as like Muhammad Ali did, but his Alzheimer's was 100% caused from the wars that he was in.
Well, they
Oh, we
were
got
fighting.
a Puerto Rican, bro. Puerto Rican
Yeah, bro.
born.
Boricua.
Chagui Torres.
Chigui.
No, because Tito Trinidad was like the guy,
man.
bro. Oof.
I love
for the
I
longest time.
I loved when he
Felix?
Yeah.
when he beat Oscar De La Hoya was like I was so happy. I hated De La Hoya.
That was at the peak of like the.
Yeah, and then you had Cotto, who was the other Puerto Rican boxer, Miguel Cotto.
Yeah, then there
he-
was Winky Wright too. Winky Wright was
that's
was
right,
He
he
Puerto
was-
Rican?
Was he Puerto Rican?
Let me see here.
Dominican, maybe. That guy, all he was a defensive fighter.
That guy
Winky
never threw a
Wright.
punch ever.
I never saw him throw a punch in my life.
Winky Wright? Oh yeah, it's because he was just.
He used that the Philly shell.
Yeah, the
constantly.
peekaboo. Yeah, the old peekaboo defense. Oh,
I remember you
man.
could take him on fight night, and he was like the worst fighter because all you could do was block.
Yep,
Fight
see
night was
what-
a great game too.
that was a great game. Great soundtrack too.
I wanna
If
see
you
where
look
he's
at
from here.
Patterson, Patterson won the gold medal in the Olympics.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was,
that's
that
right.
was very controversial back in the 50s.
Yep. Yeah, but the Customato was known for like hypnosis, and he was very religious.
Here's another thing, by the
So-
way. This is
so-
another thing that Cuss did. He took these undersized fighters because Tyson was undersized for a
Yeah,
heavyweight,
well, for a
right?
heavyweight,
like
he's-
Patterson. You know,
he's
Patterson
not,
was 100.
he's not 5'10", Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's about 5'8".
Yeah,
Did you know that Patterson was like 180 pounds fighting heavyweights?
yeah, going six.
Probably
What
the
did they do?
probably the smallest
16 rounds
smallest
back then?
dude to do it, bro.
Or 20 rounds? They
Oof,
went 20 rounds.
20 rounds.
20 rounds they went.
I
Wow.
don't know where this guy's from.
Who?
Winky Wright. Let's see. Born Washington D.C., but he's got to be some Hispanic ethnicity or something, right?
I thought he was black for some reason.
Yeah, I thought it was
Or
black
might,
too.
he might be black. Who knows? But we have that, and then we have Bernard Hopkins was a
Yep.
beast.
B-Hop, the
Yeah.
executioner. We got to see him lose against Kelly Pavlik in a
He fought out of Philly, didn't he?
Yeah.
Shout out to Philly for being the biggest piece of shit city in the nation.
Every podcast, Chris has to tell everybody that he hates fucking Philly.
I've never been there, bro, but
Oh,
It's a
you're
big
missing
occult
a good
city,
time,
man.
bro. Please go try it. It's like Disneyland.
it sounds like
Everything
a
is like
shithole.
everything is occult based in Philly. The way it's structured, the way
Oh,
it's
it's fucking
the
terrible.
way it's laid out.
It's terrible, bro.
So wait, what part though? Because Philly's Philadelphia. No?
Actually, the actual city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, the city. It's just
the
terrible.
city itself. Like if you see the layout of it, it's almost a lot like
Cheesesteaks suck.
it's a lot like Washington D.C.
All right, let's see here. City of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay, I thought for some reason I'm kind of retarded. I thought Philadelphia was a state. Well, dude, I mean, you got to understand that all these places are built. Like, look at the city hall. The city hall looks crazy.
Yeah. And look,
That's
if you,
how
I don't know if they have an overview shot of like the map of it, the way it's actually.
That's how a lot of cities are,
Yeah.
though. You can see a lot of crazy shit in the design, like the topography. When you
Oh, when I go to
Because-
Washington D.C., like look at all this bullshit.
Because again, it's back to the Pythagorean palaces idea of encapsulating a higher level of consciousness within these places by just building. That's why Masons revere like Pythagoras, and that goes back to the idea of mathematics, how it's a hidden language. It's a way of capturing essences, if you will, from the stars or whatever it may be, down into the micro. Because if you're able to emulate the macro, right, as above, so below type of shit, you're able to affect it in a way. So I think that's what they do. That's what the elites do by changing their names and doing all these different things. And I think that reality is scripted to a certain extent. I think that just how when you have an operating system, you can't do certain things. Well, that's reality. You can't do certain things because it's just programmed that way. But there's ways of cheating in the Matrix. There's ways of hacking the Matrix. And I think by them doing all these things, such as look at this city hall, man. This thing looks Tartarian AF, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Can we go back to as above, so below? I want to tell you
Yeah.
guys what I saw the other day. Totally fucked me up, and I thought I knew about everything in movies. So the other day, I'm watching Forrest Gump. My son, for some reason, put it on. He's 5 years old. He has never taken interest in anything that's not a cartoon. So we started watching it. And it happened to be on the scene when Forrest is saying goodbye to Jenny. She's getting back on that on the bus with the dude that
whore.
Yeah. So remember the guy that Forrest beat the shit out of?
Yeah.
And then she went up leaving with him? Bro, you got to pull it up. You see he waves, okay? And all of a sudden he goes to the 2 fingers. And as they pan out, he's got the other 2 fingers down. And I caught it while I was watching
bro.
it. I was like, there's no fuck. Bro, please pull it up. You have to
I'm
see
sure
it.
it's on a fucking website somewhere.
It's
else.
got to be on a website somewhere.
But
I
You know,
seen-
what bugged me out when I went to that museum in Washington D.C. and I saw the picture of the statue of George Washington doing the fucking.
I got it.
You know,
You got it? Can we share it?
Yeah,
You guys
let
got to
me-
see it. Tell me I'm not crazy.
let's see what we got here.
Yeah, let me share my entire. Let me take off my furry porn and make sure that
It's all right, bro. We're with it.
there
We're
we go.
inclusive here.
Yeah. This part.
Yeah.
He's got the 2.
Yeah. Look
Two.
at this. What was
I
that,
don't
bro?
know.
But if you watch it in the video, it's a wave,
Well, I mean,
and all
we're
of a sudden
talking
it just
about-
goes.
we're talking about I
All
forgot
right.
his name.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. I
He's
mean,
one
you
of the
do
biggest
know.
scumbags on the planet, bro.
But let's talk about Castaway. Castaway was probably one of the greatest movies ever made. Okay, and you know what other movie was wild? Because I call them cinemagicians. The
Road to
The-
Perdition was good too.
Which
the
one?
movie with the ship.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was gonna say. The one,
Oh,
the
Captain
now?
whatever.
Fucking
Captain
amazing. It's one of my
Phillips.
favorite movies.
I am
It's got a
the
different
captain
name,
now.
though.
I am the captain now. That one.
Yeah. I say
Captain
it to
Phillips,
my,
right?
I
Isn't
say
it
it to my
Captain?
wife at least once a month. I tell her, look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Is it Captain? Yeah, Captain Phillips.
Yeah,
oh
Captain
my God, bro! I saw that movie for the first time the other day, and I was at the edge of my seat
it's
the
one of the best
entire
movies.
time.
That shit's happening every day in the world.
Wait, so you want to hear something fucked up about the?
Yeah.
So I've never seen Castaway. My wife like, swears by it. She loves it. She thinks it's like the best movie ever. And I'm gonna watch it. I'm actually gonna get into it.
He does magic too in that movie. Creates an entity in the ball.
But I'm
Yes, bro.
I'm more fucked up about that ball because I've seen that ball now on several different conspiracy sites where that ball, that face, is.
I
The
seen that. Like on
image.
Ellen had it.
Yeah, Ellen had it. Jay-Z had it.
I think
all
certain
these people
artist
have
does
it.
it.
But
Certain
you know
artist
what? Yeah,
has
but you know
that.
what's fucked up? Everyone that saw that video supposedly of Wiener's wife and Hillary Clinton, where they ripped that girl's face off. Apparently,
supposedly.
that is
Frazzle
what they.
Drip. What is that called?
Yes, frazzle drip,
Mhm.
adrenochrome, all that shit. That's what they said. The cover that the girl that basically they were walking around and that's what it looked like, and they basically took a print of it and then they put it into the movie, and then now Ellen and all these other sick fucks
Who the
always
fuck?
have that on their back. It is in every single one when they do an interview from their house. It's always sitting up. The Wilson face print is always sitting up behind them on a shelf.
Yeah,
it's weird though.
I think that's a popular artist that does that. That has that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's who it is, and you see it in everywhere. Like Joe Button podcast, the rapper, he had it in his background. Ellen and all these other bunch of people were wearing it. It's definitely like some kind of sign,
which is weird because it's not a cool picture. Like I would never walk into someone's house and be like, "Oh, it's fucking amazing."
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because a lot of people will defend them like, "Oh, but how many times does it have to be a coincidence?"
Right.
In order for it to be an actual thing, like, oh, look at her, she has that crazy looking art. Because I know what you're talking about. I've seen that TikTok where it's like the same thing, like on her shirt, on her wall, and then if you look at the whole Balenciaga thing, like
that
with
was
the
fucking
papers
wild, man.
in the now, what? Please explain to me if it is. Let's say it is a coincidence. Why?
Right.
Why is that there? And I have a set. The fucked up part is that I have a set of Balenciagas that I like to wear. I can't wear them now.
No, you can't wear them.
You gotta burn them.
So then you're conjuring that energy and everything.
As a matter of fact, let's start a GoFundMe. Right, we'll get you paid in full, but you gotta burn them on the show.
Yeah, we're gonna start a GoFundMe for Juan.
You know what's funny?
My man needs new shoes, bro.
You know what's funny though? I watched a whole bunch of celebrities throw their Balenciagas out, but you notice, like, listen. If I didn't like a football player and I'm gonna burn the jersey, right? These motherfuckers were putting these in these nice plastic bags. They're like, these are going in the garbage. Bro, those did not go in the fucking garbage. Unless I see flames set to it. That is a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's a ritual. They're like, hey, here we are doing
it.
Because part of chaos magic is destroying the sigil. Yeah. But back to the whole idea of how many times does it need to happen for it to not be a coincidence, because it just makes a lot of sense to me. Why are those papers in that thing? Like, why?
I think honestly, it's the fuck with the people like us that know. You know, that's them fucking with the people that know, like us. Like, we know because we pay attention to that. And I think that's where they're focused on. Like, I'm fucking with the people that are looking at the papers. The normal person isn't looking at papers in the background. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you ever watch Ellen show though? Have you ever watched some of there is so many clips where she just has these celebrities on, and it's always the elites, dude. And the shit they talk about, like, remember we had like Pizzagate and all that shit. Yeah. If you ever watch, there's all these, and you could pull these up online. There's these interviews where she's always got Jennifer Aniston on or Tom Hanks, and we're talking about like elite actors, like people that now are like untouchable, right? They can do whatever the fuck they want in Hollywood. And all they talk about is pizza. Like, oh, we love to get together and we have pizza. And then when you start looking at some of the other interviews, you'll have some of the newer Hollywood people come on. I think it was like Kevin Hart was on and he was talking. He's like, oh, Jennifer, you have the best pizza, but I like the fact that you had, 5 different cheeses. And then he did like a whole skit about it. And then you could see Ellen's face is like, she's uncomfortable. Like, you're being way too obvious right now.
Maybe they just fucking with everybody.
But why?
But this is one of the things that I've learned from studying the occult. And a lot of these grimoires, there's always this aspect of, because the observer effect is a real thing. I think that's at the core of it, like the observer effect. We know that matter is it reacts differently when it's being observed versus when it's not being observed, right? Like we know this. We don't know why it happens, but we know that this is a thing. This is a phenomenon. And one of the things that I find interesting about the grimoire that's supposed to be occult, it's supposed to be hidden, it's supposed to be, magic that nobody else is supposed to know about. They always talk about how they will be in awe, how they will witness this thing that's happening. I'm like, wait, so you're supposed to be doing this in like a lab by yourself? What's the point? Why are you writing about people are going to be amazed about seeing it? And one of the things that, again, back to the, oh, is it symbolic or not? Well, are they really talking about pizza or not? It goes back to the idea of they're alchemists, bro. They're talking in code for that reason, in order to not be identified by the people who aren't initiated, because what they believe is that only a select few can have this knowledge because it's that powerful. So by them speaking about this in plain sight, almost like rubbing your face in it, like, hey, there's nothing that you can do that's probably gonna prove you that you're gonna prove yourself right. But then everybody talks about how shady the government is, right? Any person that you ask, oh, the government is shady. Yeah, the government's shady. Well, you know that they're practicing some sort of occult art and doing magic and stuff. Like, no, they're not. It's like,
that's crazy to think that.
It's crazy to think that, right? Like, no, like, wait, you just told me that they're
shady. They're
shady.
Fucking kids. They're doing all this crazy, eating kids, but they won't do magic. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's just, I think that at the core of it all, I do think that there is a select few that's running it. And what I think that is happening is, like, I think that there is a white lodge versus a black lodge, and
I think that's
magic.
We have it, good versus evil. I mean, that's literally the oldest tale of time, and that's exactly what we're in. By the way, shout out to the government who's going to bail out Moderna now after they just made tens of billions of dollars.
What?
No shit.
Yeah, they're looking to bail out Moderna.
What are they in the red? How are they in the red? They made a fucking shit ton of money.
They get exactly. You know that the owner, the CEO, went from a millionaire to a billionaire overnight with the
Moderna didn't exist until the injection.
Exactly. So basically, dude, they did a bunch of
the jibby jab. We got to speak in code these days.
Yeah. So they basically, they're going to bail them out, and they're saying because they made all these extra vacations, and then everyone stopped taking it. So now they got all this shit. Like, I don't know. Maybe use the tens of billions of dollars that you made. Fucking do something with it. Go give it to the Africans like you always do, anyways.
Going back to like what you were saying, now I'm seeing, like, I don't know if you saw it in the Telegram. I made a comment about it. I'm seeing now during the election season all these QAnon accounts popping up again, and like all these like and then like now I'm seeing again all the adrenochrome posts again once again.
They got reinstated, bro. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how it's right away. And I think personally, it's like the alphabet agencies working, and
it's a cycle. 2 years before the election.
It's a cycle over and over and over again, and people fall for it over and over and over. I don't watch. I was never into Q, and I don't watch the news because I feel like that's a way of putting you in this sort of matrix loop where it powers again this fear within you. I would rather watch. I mean, and really anything nowadays is
so propaganda. It's unbelievable.
You got to look at everything like entertainment, bro. If you're going to turn on the news, just look at it as entertainment.
But hear me out, though, because check this out. I've already turned off 3 movies on Netflix. And I know the Netflix, they're lizard people. But I've turned off 3 movies on Netflix because, like, again, nothing against gay people or transsexuals.
So political, yeah.
Whatever you put in your butt is your own business. Whatever you want to do. Whatever happens between 2 consenting adults is fine with me.
Whatever the fuck you want to do.
But what does it have to do with the plot of the story? And like you can tell they're trying to push this woke agenda.
Everything,
like, so
bro.
Cringe,
well, think about it. They took out normal heterosexual sex. You can't find nudity anymore on Netflix unless you really, really look for it. But if you
is that what you do, bro?
Listen, bro, I got a shared account, so the answer is no.
I use his account too.
Yeah. I can, dude. That's actually fucking perfect. You're gonna have to edit this out, but I can use you. Like, I don't know what the fuck this kid is looking at. This kid wants to see the Peter North documentary. I don't know why.
Who's that?
He's a porn star.
Oh,
Peter
really?
North. Yeah.
They did a Pornhub documentary just now. Like,
I just saw it now recently.
They did, but I think that was Rocco. It was Rocco, bro. Guys.
Yeah. I don't know, bro.
Old school, bro. I'm talking old school now. And I only know this because I've been lobbying for male porn stars to make more money for the last.
Yeah, that's right. You have been leading that campaign. You are spoke.
I just don't think it's fair, bro. I think
you should unionize them. We're just talking about initiate them, unionize them. You start a male porn union.
What's happening?
The male porn stars, bro, they make no money. It's bullshit.
Chris was advocating for equal pay. And in one episode, Chris was advocating that.
Bro, nobody cares about those saggy balls and.
No, but the
No,
point
but they got
being
to be
that
paid.
they got
I
to
mean,
paid equally than women porn stars because we're talking about equal pay.
We're being exploited in the industry. There is nothing happens without us, bro.
Well, what do you keep saying? We? What are you talking about?
He's speaking for men.
I'm
male
speaking
porn
for men.
stars.
Wait, were you a former porn star?
No, just in my private time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like even porn is probably one of the biggest.
Oh, that's
like psychological, biological weapons used.
Oh my god,
it's
sex magic too.
100%.
Yeah, you're conjuring thoughts, and sometimes you put another person that you think of in that thought.
You saw that, but you saw the AI. You saw the guy doing the AI stuff.
No.
That's the problem. This new porn is very different than.
Listen, dude. Listen, there was this guy who I guess he was on a Zoom meeting, and he had he put his screen up or something happened where it showed the screen. It was one of his coworkers, like a deep fake video of one of his coworkers on the face of the chick or whatever.
Jesus.
He was like married or something. Again, I don't know. Like I could be getting the whole thing wrong, but the point being that now people are able to do this AI where they're able to take the face of whoever you want and literally change it. So that's a problem too. But I mean,
the deep fakes are fucked up, dude. That's the thing. They don't want you to believe your own eyes anymore. You know.
Of course, they want to believe what they're telling you. But think about like the deep fake on a porn, and you're putting somebody that you know. You're pretty much conjuring some kind of sex magic there.
That's been around for a long time, bro.
You're actually creating a weird thought in your head with something now that you're actually seeing happening now. You know, instead of just it being in your imagination, you're actually seeing it now. You're observing it. You guys ever watch
porn on VR?
No, I've never seen. I've seen it on the screen, but I've never seen that you can move the screen around.
That's what I was going to reference. Like this whole listen, if you guys get a chance, you ever watch Black Mirror?
Yeah,
I've seen some episodes. Yeah.
Did you see the episode where the dude is using the Oculus to connect with his buddy?
Yeah,
did you ever see that one?
Yeah,
bro, it is one of the most. I watched it with my wife. What's that?
There's people who exist on
I went to a stand-up comedy show in a metaverse with my friend.
So you use what's the app? It's called VR Chat, right? VR Chat.
Yeah.
One of my favorite activities is just smoking a bowl and putting on the VR headset and sitting in these chat rooms because it is the craziest experience, almost like psychedelic, bro. It is the funniest thing you will ever see in these VRs. But the thing is that some people exist in this VR, in this world, like 24/7. Like they exist there, and there is full haptic feedback suits that you can wear, and wherever they're touching you, you feel it, bro. In the game, wherever they're touching you. Now there's VR, like erotic sex or whatever. People have sex in the VR, like the metaverse. With each other, bro.
You got to send me a link on this for research purposes.
Yeah, we got to take a look. We got to do a deep dive.
So I've watched it. I've watched porn before on VR, and it was the craziest thing because the video that I was watching, I remember it was so lifelike because dude, the chick squirted and I ducked, bro. Like that's bro. It was the craziest thing. I freaking. I was like, oh shit! Like it was that lifelike. All I needed was like to have a spray bottle somewhere and like in my. But it was wild, bro. It was wild. I'm telling you, you gotta check it out at least once. And I'm not talking about the one where you put your phone in. I'm talking about like a real Oculus. Like
I was gonna say, I got the Oculus, so I might have to do a special upgrade.
One of these days when you're home alone, like
the wife's gone.
No, see, I'm gonna go for the full blown. I'm gonna tell my wife, when you see me raise my finger, you gotta hit me in the face with a spray bottle.
But I'm serious, bro. It was the craziest thing. Like I ducked, man. I was like, oh, because again, it feels like you're almost there. Like but you know that it's not real right now. But
I'm gonna tell her I'm playing a surfing game.
But what's gonna happen when the Neuralink is activated and they want to put it in your skull?
I'm not getting that shit done, bro.
Dude, that's gonna be wild. Think about that.
You know what that's gonna be like? Those stupid glasses they had for a time being. Remember, everyone was like,
Oh,
getting
those
like,
AR,
those
the augmented
Google
augmented.
glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
I
shit.
remember
What?
some assholes. You don't remember the AR glasses, the
Yeah,
augmented
bro, they
reality
had that
glasses?
shit. Yeah, they
Look it
had
up. The Google. It was like almost like Terminator had the little
Yeah.
like descriptions.
Yeah, and then that's what's gonna happen with Neuralink. You're gonna see people literally unaliving themselves because they can't get the Neuralink out of their head, and fucking Elon's just fucking with them,
I
poking them while
never
they're
saw.
sleeping and
I
shit.
never saw these.
Yeah,
AR
Google
glasses.
Glass. I think.
Yeah,
Google
dude, they
Glass.
were supposed to be like the next level of everything. They were
I
gonna
didn't
be
they
think
had
law enforcement,
people didn't go for it.
military. Yeah, no, no one wants that, bro. I don't want anything implanted in my hand, anything in my head, nothing.
But yet you carry your phone around with you all the time wherever you go, and you're on it 24/7. I mean, it's kind of sort of the same thing. They're just gonna take it a step further, and I
slap
mean,
that
just
bitch right into your wiring.
exactly,
That's
bro.
gonna
You
be
become
nuts.
one
I still
with
like
it.
being able to pull it in and out of my pocket, you know. And I'm really not on my phone like as much. Like I see like just the age gap. Like I'm 41, but like I see my sister, who's like 29. I have to like she'll be in the room, and I'll have to like talk to her through fucking text.
Bro,
Like,
I
what are
date.
you doing?
Well, I'm the single guy here. I date younger chicks, and I have to tell them like when a girl's in her 20s, I be like, "Listen, sweetheart, the phone's got to be put away.
How old
I
are you,
can't
bro?
handle. I'm 40,
Damn, you're
So-
dating chicks in the, you. That's a
bro.
death wish, no?
Bro, yeah, but what do you want me to date? Older, 35-year-old?
Nah, you need to find that sweet spot, bro. Like a
And
32,
seasoned ones are
32.
No, they're fun. Listen, we're talking about just casual dating here.
Something that's
28-year-olds,
still
great
got a
to look
womb
at.
intact that
Yeah.
can give you a kid, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You need to get maybe 32, 33 is the sweet spot over there. I can't have
That's
one
what
with
that's what I'm
hormones
thinking.
so polluted.
If it's 30, put it this way, 32, 33 in like the Carolinas is like that's like 27 everywhere else looks wise. They're still good. A 32-year-old in New York, that's like a 46-year-old.
Bro, and she's been
fucking
ran
Florida.
through like a fucking
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She's
you got
been
kids
down.
or no?
No kids.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
I got 3, bro.
I got 2.
Blessed. 5, 4, and 1.
I got a 10-month-old and a 5-year-old.
Jesus.
Awesome, bro. So you
I got a lot of
little
nieces and
cat.
nephews and godchildren, if that counts. You know,
Yeah.
I get to give them back.
Kind of something. I mean, it's a different lifestyle, 100%. Like when you're a parent, it's just a different way of living. Like it's not like what people make it out to be. Like, oh, you're miserable. Like, no, you're not miserable,
No, of
bro.
course
Like it's
not.
a beautiful.
No, that's
thing.
you, bro. If you say like people that say that, I always laugh at that, bro. Like, trust me, I got my hands full over here. But these people that like, they were people that I already knew, like before, and I would be like, when they become a parent, they're fucked because they just can't cope. They just can't cope with shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
people can't, bro. I see people like melt down with their kids. It's unbelievable.
Well, because they're little fuckers, bro. That's
Oh,
the
yeah, I
problem.
know.
Yeah,
I know.
You-
I get them, kill them, and then you got to deal with them. That's the best part about it. Like being an uncle or a godfather, I see the kids pop off a couple Muldoons off the top. Here you go. See you later. I get to rile them up, wrestle with them, and then give them back to Chris.
Bada bing,
Exactly.
bada boom. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's why I tell people like all the time, like, you know, if I was still single and had like no wife, no kids, no nothing, bro, I'd be stacking that bread, man. I'd be working and
That's
just
all I
like
do.
grinding
Yep,
away
that's all I do.
and just like. But then you got people who are just like, I don't know, man. I mean, so, a lot of people don't have drive, and I get it because I know I have something. I have either ADD or ADHD. I have something. There's something. I hyper focus on things. Like I'll pick up hobbies left and right. Not anymore. Ever since obviously as you get older, you start to mature. But for a long time, bro, I mean, and part of podcasting started kind of like that because I started out making fishing videos. But then the problem with the fishing videos is you go out for 12 hours. If you don't catch anything,
Yeah, so you're a shitty fisherman. Nobody's gonna watch you.
you ain't got a video. So I was like,
you got nothing.
you ain't got nothing. So I was
You gotta
like,
go pick something up at the butcher.
Yeah, you got to start talking about occult things as you're fishing.
yes. So like I started with that, and then like when I got skunked a few times, I'm like, man, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna do something else. So then I started podcasting, and then lo and behold, here we are, freaking 3 years later.
Yeah, you got to keep working. Once you keep working, you find your niche.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You find your niche, 100%.
When you hit tinfoil, did that tinfoil hat give you a lot of exposure?
Like the thing about tinfoil, it does give you exposure, and it did give me exposure, but
A lot of
it's
crazy
just like
people.
it's just like everything else. Here's the problem, and like sometimes these new podcasts and new podcasters get lost in the sauce when it comes to either having a big time guest on or going on the biggest shows. Well, like I mentioned earlier, if your show is not good,
Yeah, it don't matter who you got
they're
on.
gonna listen to the first they're gonna listen to
Yeah.
your latest episode, and if that episode was garbage, they're not coming back. Or if you have a prestigious guest on with a big following for whatever reason, if they'll listen to that one episode, and that's it, right? So what I do if I have an appearance, like you gotta kill it, bro. You gotta slay it on like other
Yeah.
channels. But again, I do good research. I bring forth interesting things that are interesting to me. If you find it interesting, that's on you. But like I put out whatever, like I mentioned what I like, and if I like it, I'm gonna talk about it. And that's why people all the time they're like, "Oh, you should have so and so on." It's like I check people out, like people who tell me like, "Oh, check out so and so," because that's how you find new ideas and you collaborate with other people. But a lot of times, sometimes I don't like the other person's thing. Like I just don't. And like if I don't vibe with it, I'm not gonna have you on just because you have X amount of followers. You know what I mean? I think
There's nothing you can connect with either. It's gonna be like a stale. You can definitely hear that when it comes off.
100%. Yeah,
it doesn't work well at all.
It's hard to fake it, anyways. That's why I'm probably not good at this.
You're great at it, bro. You're perfect.
When I don't like someone, I just can't.
This is what you got to do because we're not trying to be anything. We just want to listen to people and connect people. That's our goal. So that's what we're gonna do.
No, 100%.
It's been working out great so far.
What do you mean? You say you don't like podcasting, bro?
No, he says he's not good at it. No,
I do. I don't like.
He's being self-deprecating right now because he wants people to text him and be like, legend.
No,
great. Man, you really killed it last week, bro.
What I'm saying is,
fucking guys looking for compliments.
Listen. I'm not compliment fishing, bro. I promise. You can edit this out. No, I don't. When you don't vibe with someone, like like a lot of times, like Reef will want to set people up on the podcast, and like when it's someone that I'll just get like a quick little overview on it. If it's something I'm not feeling, I'll be like, I'm not feeling great today. Because I can't fake it, bro. I can't have like these fake conversations. Like I like learning from people's background and shit and like what you got going on. But if I don't vibe with you, I'm the worst person to try to fake it. You can just see it on my face.
It happens. I mean, when you have I haven't not aired a lot of episodes. But the ones that I haven't aired have been pretty bad. Like, for example, one time I had this guy who out of left field, he was already like being kind of racist, but then out of left field, like came out and was like, yo, yeah, the Holocaust never happened. I was like, yo, what in the world did you just say, bro? Right. He was dead serious. Like, dead serious.
Yeah, it's what happened with me and Chris when we were on that podcast. We're like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on?
I'll tell him exactly what happened. He had a deep fake of Joe Rogan using like the N word, the F word.
But you guys had somebody on like that?
No, we were on another podcast.
We were on there. And then I literally I texted a Reef. I was like, bro, I'm gonna go get a drink, but I'm not gonna come back. Yeah. and I was like, guys, I'm right back. I'm getting a drink. Yeah, and then I was just texting him like, bro, wrap it up. Let's just get the fuck out of here. And then I got back. This motherfucker played the video again.
Yeah, I was like,
yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
My head right away. I'm like, these guys are setting us up, bro.
That dude's not on YouTube.
Definitely not. He's got to be on Rumble or something.
No, even then, I mean, you can't. Like, one thing is freedom of speech, but another thing is like hatred.
Yeah.
You know.
No, bro.
But I do notice
it's not cool anymore, bro.
But I do notice in the conspiracy community, a lot of people think that's like so cool to do and act like that, or they say, talk about the Jews or something like that. Like it's so like popular in that thing, and it's not really racist. I don't think they're racist. They just think that that's like edgy to saying because they're fucking dorks, most of them. They think it's cool.
It's weird. It's a whole weird vibe, to be honest with you. I don't like it at all.
No, I know some Jews who will quite literally give their shirts off their back to help you, right? Like the nicest people that I've ever met. Like you can't clump all of them up. There's always going to be radicals within like one group of people, or the garbage from that one group, but you can't categorize that entire group of people because of that one guy, that one Florida man, that one redneck or whatever it is that ruined it for everybody else. Like they're not all like that. And that's the problem when you start to categorize whole groups of people. It's a dangerous mindset, man. And I think that this conspiracy truth or community, what I think that sounds stupid. I think it's a dangerous it's a dangerous place to be in sometimes because, and dude, a
Bro,
lot
you
of
could
the
be getting set up,
conservative,
bro.
a lot of the conservative religious people are the ones that are the truther community, and those are like some of the most radical people that you'll ever meet, and they're like of the church. I'm like,
Yeah,
that
but you
don't
never
mean
know who
nothing.
you're getting set up from. Like they're saying something crazy. They got you on video now, 10 years
Bro,
down
but
the
that's
line,
on
you know?
you. You
Yeah,
gotta
I
do your
know. That's what I
research
mean.
before you
Yeah.
jump on somebody's podcast. You can't
Yeah,
just
I know. I'm never running for president. That's for damn sure.
yeah, no, dude. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
felt
gotta
trapped, bro. We got to talk about that off air. You fucked me.
nah, bro. You gotta be careful with that. I mean, and once you like, once you start growing and you get people listening, they're gonna. I own up to everything I've said, and comedy is one thing, racism is another, hatred is another,
Absolutely.
and
You
I
know what's
think
funny,
that
bro? That's exactly what I was texting her. I go, bro, I don't know what these guys' intentions are. Like, I don't know when they're gonna like put out certain clips and all of a sudden our face is gonna be on. We got to get out of here now.
Yeah.
And then I think it started to like register. We were like, yo, this feels like a fucking set
No,
up.
but we were having such a great time and that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was, bro. It was weird.
So strange. Like out of nowhere. Oh, look at this deep fake. We're all sitting there like, what the fuck? Everybody had the same response. They're like, what's going on here?
yeah, I know you gotta be careful. I don't do a lot of people's shows, but like the ones that I do, I gotta check them out at least because like how you said, bro, that's another thing. You gotta vibe with people. You
Yeah,
gotta
100%.
you gotta
Yeah,
know
it
what you're
makes
getting
for good
into.
quality too.
Yeah,
When you
exactly.
vibe
No,
with
100%.
somebody.
But that's part of the game, and you're not gonna always because remember, if you're just getting to know somebody for the first time, it's gonna take a little bit to warm up to them too, right? Like
Absolutely, yeah.
you're not gonna get to know somebody in an hour and a half podcast or 2 hours. It's gonna be at least the first 20 minutes getting the flow
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
of how it's alchemy, bro. It's all alchemy
Yep,
at the
that's
end of the
true.
day.
I
Yeah.
like how you described alchemy in one of your podcasts. Like how it was you explained it in a certain way that it's different. It's not only like people automatically think alchemy is just somebody mixing potions and everything like
Mhm.
that, but you had made it as a reality, like a transmutational reality and all that. You
Oh
explained it a certain
yeah,
way, yeah.
because the part of alchemy, yeah, like I said, it's multi-dimensional, it's interdimensional, quite literally. Because when you Google alchemy, and that was my problem at first when you're looking into this topic, you want to know the secrets, like right, like as a researcher, you want to know why somebody was doing that. So you just Google what is alchemy, and the first thing you're gonna get is like, oh, what came before chemistry, and it's just like they were trying to turn lead into gold. Well, when you start learning about the magnum opus and the minor opus and the lead into gold, well, the reaction of that, the light from that changes your DNA, your genetic structure, and you're able to transcend reality. And then you start to go, wait, what? And then there's like immortal alchemists. You start to get into like Count of Saint Germain, Fulcanelli, Nicholas Flamel. Like they're immortal, bro. Like they were seen 200, 300 years apart, the same guy. Like, wait, how was he able to do that? So it's like the alchemy has a whole bunch of different things. You have the elixir of life, the homunculus is part of that sliver of things. You have the philosopher's stone, which we know in Harry Potter, and the what is it, the philosopher's stone or sorcerer's stone? The
I'm not
philosopher's stone,
sure.
isn't it?
I think it's
Bro, I never
philosophy.
watched Harry Potter.
Bro,
Yeah.
neither have I,
Neither did
bro.
I, to be
But
honest. I went with
Harry,
my ex-girlfriend for both of the
the
first two
sorcerer's
movies, and I
stone.
fell asleep.
Yeah, my wife knows all that shit.
The
Wow.
sorcerer's stone. But when you start to read about the philosopher's stone and what all that is, it might be actual things like physical things. It might be symbolic. It might be who knows. I mean, that's the thing, and I find that so fascinating. And every day I learn something new about it. But yeah, it's about literally when you achieve this work, you transcend and you piece out of this dimension. And whenever anything interdimensional or portals, like, bro, I love that shit. Like, it's
But I had really a big. If you listen to the podcast, I talk about it all the time. I used to trip hard on mushrooms. We're talking 17 grams, 18 grams hard. Yeah,
bro,
like
what?
breaking reality. I did it 3 times already. Like
Bro,
nuts.
17 grams. There's no way, dude.
Well,
There's
I'm
no
telling you right
way.
now. Yep, 17 grams. We weighed
You're
it.
full of shit,
I swear
bro.
to God. I swear to God. I did it with my cousin. I'll swear my nieces and nephews. Let's put it that way. So we weighed it, and then we put it in the Ninja blender, and then put it in the naked smoothies, and then we drank them like that. So you probably lost a little bit off the 17 grams. So it was probably
Yeah,
roughly
but
like 15
still.
grams. Yeah.
I did the one time that I grew my own. I did 2 point something grams, and that was enough for me that one time.
This was a wild experience when I tell you. Wild. And the craziest thing, that's why I started getting into the occult, because we all went to the same trip, because the next day we all talked about seeing the same thing and being at the same place at the same time. And when I went to this place that it was like this guy in a hood, and he had all files, like all libraries and everything. And that's, to me, I interpreted as the Akashic records. And that's how I started reading into it. And because of that trip, I was like, that's how I started reading about the occult and seeing symbols and everything that I saw in my trip. So the next time I did it, we were writing everything down. And I remember being aware that I know now I have some kind of control in this trip right now, as I was tripping the second time we did the 17 grams. And then that's when my trip became amazing, because I was in the trip, I was able to change the floor into water and what I was seeing, and like start a fire. Like, I don't know if it was really happening because I was really fucked up, but in that trip, who the fuck knows? I was in a different world, literally in a different world of seeing different versions of myself. It was nuts. But
one of my favorite quotes is, when we're all hallucinating all the time, when we agree about our hallucinations, we call it reality.
yeah, there you go.
And like, did you read that article that they're mapping out the psychedelic realm, or
The DMT realm, yeah.
or something like that?
I did try it. I did not like it, though. I didn't really like it.
DMT?
Yeah. I might have to do it again.
That's a real, like, these places are real, and that's why
Absolutely,
I have a lot of respect for like psychedelics, because I do think that it transports not maybe your physical self, but like your consciousness to these other realms. And sometimes if you take like just the right amount, right, you're in between these realms. And I actually know occultists who will use psychedelics, and they take just enough to where they're in between these two worlds, and they'll do whatever they do, and they're in this reality, but then not like this mundus imaginalis, which is like the in between, like the imagination realm,
Yeah.
and the reality. And like, that's another thing, like the imagination plays a big role into our perceived reality. I think that fiction is realer, much more real than reality itself, because it's not constrained to the box that we're
Let me
in.
ask you, because I don't know anything about it. You ever see like people like from your past in these other realms?
I've only done psychedelics one time. I don't know how many times.
No, not really. You see, it's so strange, because it depends. As you do a lower dosage, you have a better time because you can figure shit out. When you do in higher dosages, it's just like reality just breaks. So you're just seeing a bunch of shit. You know, you're literally leaving this world. Like, I had when the trip first started happening, I was in a spaceship taking off somewhere, and then like just feeling like I was just spinning around, holding onto the wall. And
Meanwhile,
then
you're in your chair, like,
exactly, I'm in the couch laying down. You know, because my cousin was watching me. He's like, "Yeah, you were fine." And meanwhile, I was freaking out as I was thinking, I was
I heard
freaking
salvia
out.
is wild too, bro. I've all that, like, my boy does salvia, and he's like, just the craziest thing. Like,
Yeah, I've heard some crazy shit about salvia.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
Again,
Certain shit just
utmost
scares me,
respect
though.
for it. Oh,
Yeah.
and that's
You
why
gotta
it's
be
used.
you
in
got to be ready
ceremonies.
for it. You got
Yeah.
to be ready for it too, and you got to be really honest. If you're not good at criticizing yourself, self criticism, or
Yeah.
really working on yourself, don't do it, because you're gonna get some real realities that you don't like.
I
If you're a
tried that
piece of shit,
earlier.
don't do
I
it.
tried that earlier.
Yeah,
Like
if
10
you're a
minutes
piece
ago.
of shit, get it up.
Yeah, if you're a piece of shit, don't do it, because you're gonna just hate yourself even more.
Yeah, you might kill yourself.
Yeah. So
We just saved lives today on the Haram
Yeah.
Life podcast.
Yeah.
Chris, you have
Sure,
something to
bro.
say before?
No, bro. I don't know what just
Oh,
happened.
I just
I went to a
cut you
different
out. I
realm.
forgot.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I see. We're conjuring reality right now, talking
That was
about it.
crazy. I was about to go take an
Conjuring
edible.
spirits and everything. Yeah, but that's real too, right? You can read certain like passages, right? And you're literally conjuring some kind of energy or spirit when you read some of these old. That's why I get nervous reading some of the stuff sometimes. I go to an old bookstore and I'll look at like old books, and they have like spells or whatever they are, like they're 1800 books. Like you see
Yeah,
them,
bro.
they're
Put
like
that shit right down.
almost like poems. They read almost like poems.
Well, you got to remember, there's like phonetic Kabbalah and all these different things. So just because you're reading it, it slaps differently when you read it out loud, and then how you're saying the cadence in which you're reading it at, and the way that you're pronouncing things, it counts. So just because you're reading it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna conjure something up. I'm not saying it won't, because I'm careful with that type of shit too. When it comes to hearing certain things or looking at certain sigils or certain things, and again, I don't know if it's the Christian superstition in me, but I'm careful when it comes to that sort of thing, and I don't introduce that. I'll read about the homunculus and cutting them up and stuff, but I'm not gonna mess around with it.
You're not gonna start reading whatever they're saying, whatever
no, I skip over it.
Spells are.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're coming to the end here. We'll put Juan, thank you for coming on, bro. Appreciate it. We had a great conversation here, and
fun,
hopefully we'll have you back on one day.
Yeah, I'll have to have you guys on my show too. One of these days we'll set it up. And
absolutely,
yeah,
we're down.
Having me.
Hey, thank you so much, Legend. You have anything to say to the people?
No, it's refreshing. I'm excited to listen to Juan's podcast now.
Yeah, bro, you got to get your own Patreon. I can't use my account.
It's weird that Netflix account just fucking got canceled.
Oh shit! Fuck, man. Yeah, I should have shut my mouth. Well, I'll go use my brother's. I'm a fucking moocher. I'll find somebody. One day I'll be like, "Oh, Juan, I want to do some research. What's that password?"
Yeah, bro.
Oh shit, I love it.
All right. Well, I'm Reef Leader, and this is the Rom Life Podcast. Thank you and God bless.